Hey everyone, just a quick video to explain one of the activities I did at home with my kids the other day. The classic baking soda and vinegar experiment. Lots of fun. And here's the way we did it. I actually pulled up the periodic table on my computer and I asked the kids first to do a little bit of a scavenger hunt. I have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old at home, so this is maybe appropriate for them. By the way, quick disclaimer, I'm not a chemistry teacher. My degree is in is in mechanical and aerospace engineering. I teach physics and engineering at the high school level. I've taught physics at the college level. Don't know a ton about chemistry. I don't know a ton about 4-year-olds and 6-year-olds. So feel free to comment if I screwed any of this up. But this is what we did the other day. We wanted to do the baking soda and vinegar thing because that's always fun. I got out a periodic table and we first did a little scavenger hunt. I said, first we need to find hydrogen. Hydrogen starts with H, and so I had the kids do a little scavenger hunt, find the hydrogen. Then we found carbon, and then oxygen, and then I said, see if you can find sodium. And so obviously C for carbon, O for oxygen, H for hydrogen. S turns out to be sulfur, so then it's kind of fun for them to find that Na ended up being sodium, and that has to do with Latin root naturalum or something like that. That's where it comes from. So once we found that, then I had my kids get out a piece of paper and divided it into 3 sections. And at the top section, they organized their elements. And I went to the playroom. We found some colored beads. I think you could use beads or even Legos or anything. Basically, where I had them find 5 hydrogens, and I think it was 3 carbons and 3 oxygens and some sodiums, and put them in the little bins. So they collected all their elements essentially. So that's how we started. We started by collecting the elements. Um, and we even talked a little bit about at room temperature which ones of these would be solid, liquid, or gas. And we talked about what a solid is, what a liquid is. Okay. So then after that, after we had our elements, I said, okay, so now you have just your atoms. And by the way, we started this whole activity by listening to Meet the Elements by They Might Be Giants. Great song. And in that song, you learn that most living things have hydrogen, carbon, oxygen, and nitrogen in them. And 3 of those elements were in this experiment. So then once we had our elements, we then combined them into compounds. We talked about how you can take fundamental bits and make more complex things. So we talked about how that's how Legos work. You can take just a handful of simple pieces and make really complex things. We talked about that's what the periodic table is, that it's just a list of the things that we know of in the universe, but then you can make things as complex as people and elephants out of just a handful of elements. And so what we did is we reorganized our elements into sodium bicarbonate, that's baking soda, and we reorganized our elements into vinegar. And so we saw that you can take these 4 elements and combine them in different ways to make things like baking soda and vinegar. And then we learned that what's going to happen is these 2 chemicals will react. And in a reaction, you're going to get a recombination of all those elements, and we're not going to lose any. I think that was part of the lesson, is that what we started with, we end up with, and at the bottom is the final reactants. And what we end up with was carbon dioxide and water, and so and whatever was left. And I think that's the way we did. Is I said, can you make some H2O here and some CO2 here, and everything else was left is what's over there, not whatever whatever is left in the reaction is in that other pile. And so we talked about that water. We know what water is, and the carbon dioxide is a gas, and that gas is going to be released. And so the way we did it, I didn't feel like making a volcano. I think that's like the typical way to do it. So I just took a mason jar and put baking soda in it, and then I took a shot glass. I think this was a brainstorm from my car bomb days, but I took a shot glass, filled it with vinegar, and gently put that into the mason jar. Then we put one of the latex gloves that everyone has so many of nowadays. Put a latex glove over the top of the mason jar, and then dumped the shot glass over. The reaction happened, and the latex glove inflated, and then we could all high five it. That was pretty fun. So that was our lesson for the day. We learned about elements. We got to play with the periodic table. We talked a little bit about compounds and atoms and elements, states of matter, solid, liquid, and gas. And we got to have some fun in the kitchen and use our latex gloves for something other than going shopping. So that was our activity for the day.